Fantasy League DJ, DJ Vega.
This is how we do it. Once upon a time in 94, Montel made no money and life show was slow. And all they said was 6'8" he stood. And people thought the music that he made was good. They lived the DJ and Paul was his name. He came up to money, this is what he said. You and OG are gonna make some cash. Sell a million records and we're making the day.
What's up, guys? Today on Eggs, we have an awesome guest. We've got Zamari Wiggins. Is that correct? Wiggins?
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins, okay.
Yep.
A.K.A. DJ Vega, and he's a resident DJ for Aston Manor in Seattle. He's also a mix show DJ for Power 93 and Cube in Seattle. He's in a DJ crew called Fantasy League DJs, and he's currently on tour with Ryan Caraveo. Is that correct?
Caraveo.
Does everyone slaughter that?
Everybody slaughtered it. It's all good, though.
I was like, it's got to be, like, I tried it 2 or 3 times, and I said, fuck it, I'll go with it.
Yeah,
So-
Caraveo. Yep.
Side note, he kicked my ass in a DJ competition a few
Oh,
years
wow.
ago at Aston.
That's what this is. You didn't realize this is the intervention.
Yeah, he's going to just come on and just slander me the whole time.
All right, you son of a bitch. Now we got to talk.
Damn.
I don't even know who ended up winning that one. I think it was the very last one they did at Aston.
That was, Looted. Lou Rock.
Yeah, he's on Fantasy, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was like, and it was crazy because right before that, or no, right after that is like right when we were putting them on.
Yeah.
So that was just super funny how that went about.
That had to be like 4 or 5 years ago, and I technically shouldn't have even been a contestant in that.
Nah,
thing.
it was that was fun because it was so many different like styles in it.
Yeah,
that
they
it
had
was
like
just-
different nights. One night was open format, one was like EDM, and it was kind of
Oh
weird,
wait,
but-
no, I take that back. Hinsky and Cut won that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was the one with the different nights. Because then they had another one like where they just did like 2 rounds or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, and then Lou Rock won that one. So yeah, me and you were in the first one that they ever had, and Hinsky and Cut won that one. So yeah, that was that one. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, so this is a little inside, so I'll come in as the outsider and defend those of us that don't know what's going on. So DJ Vega out of Seattle is, clearly been in the business a long time. Is known name. He's on the road here with Ryan Caraveo, who just has a new album out, and he's out on the road promoting that. We're in Salt Lake City at a venue called Kilby Court.
And I got to say, this venue is awesome and weird at the same time. I don't know what to think of
this
this place.
venue's a trip. We were actually talking with Ryan before the show a little bit about this place, and I mean, most of you will not have been here, but if you ever get a chance, come. It's a little bit like, I mean, it's super indie feeling, you know. So it feels like one of these little dirt punk rock clubs from back in the day, and these kind of things are gems, you know, because now
they're all getting bulldozed down with the big
they're
corporate.
getting mowed over, and somebody with money is building a club now, you know. And I mean, you know, there's a spot for everybody, but this place is a real throwback. It's awesome. But it's a little bit like walking onto the set of The Walking Dead or something. There's like all these abandoned houses around and stuff, and then this little venue behind like a wooden fence.
Well, you got to go down this alley and like I circled the block like 4 times trying to find this place.
Yeah, for sure. You got to look out for people. Yeah. So anyway, Mike reached out to. I'm just going to call you Zamari because it feels different. Well, I guess I could just call you Vega, right? That's how we do it.
Either
the
or.
DJ
I was gonna say I don't think a lot of people know who Zamari is, so that's
Right, we'll go with Vega.
Vega sounds legit. We'll do Vega. So anyway, Mike reached out to Vega. He found out that he was coming through Salt Lake, and we do the show here in Salt Lake quite a bit. So Mike reached out to him, and that sort of he was willing to come on the show, and that sort of is how we got here today.
Yeah. So I don't really like we've never really kicked it. Like I've
we've
met
never,
you in passing like 2 or 3 times, and that's it.
Yep, just about.
So
but
this will be a learning experience for me.
Yeah,
as well.
we have the common ground of just DJing. Period.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's what's going to be, I think, kind of interesting is you know, you guys both have, I mean, it's similar experience, both being Seattle-based DJs, but you have different paths, you know, altogether. And so I think it'll be really interesting to hear sort of, Mike obviously has one perspective, having played, places like Aston Manor and stuff like that. But we've got a different
one
story
time
here.
in a battle, I've never. Yeah, I'm not going to claim that on my resume.
Whatever, just put it on the resume. Yeah. So, but anyway, so it'll be interesting to sort of hear the other side, or hear another take on sort of a scene that we've talked about. We've had DJ Faze and some other Seattle-based DJs on the show before, and
it's actually kind of nice to do it in person because the only other guy we've done is Tam, and that was a weird off night.
Yeah, but usually we do these by phone, because the guys are in Seattle or whatever, and so it's really cool that we were able to catch Vega while he's in town. So anyway, let's sort of go back in time a little bit, and let's sort of get a little backstory on you. Basically, the concept of this show, or the idea of this show, and the reason it's called Eggs, is we use this egg as a metaphor for a person's brand or company or project or business or whatever it is, but it's your thing. And it's this idea of taking your thing from coop to table, So it's how do you get from A to B? And so talking about about the DJ business and now being on the road and working with the headliner, how do we get here from there? So let's talk a little bit about growing up.
Like where it started.
How did you get into the business? How did you decide that this is where you wanted to go?
Okay, word. So not to be super cliche, but the whole DJing, music thing has always been a part of my life somehow.
We'll take cliche. It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Perfect.
That's what we find. We interview a lot of musicians, and it's always with them. So that's cool. Do you come from a musically inclined family? Did you just get into music young? How did it start?
Kind of. So it's most of my family, on my dad's side, they were either a rapper, breakdance, something hip hop.
So where you get your smooth moves from? I've seen your videos.
I'm just a silly person overall. So that's
I love
different.
it. They're awesome.
But basically it came from that side. I was always kind of influenced by just different sounds. How can I do those sounds? How can I make those sounds my own? All that kind of stuff. And one song that really made me want to manipulate or whatever is what is it called? The CNC Factory.
Oh yeah,
everybody did it. Man, I don't remember how old I was, but I was Army brat, so I know all I remember is that I was in Germany, and that song came on, and that was one of my favorite songs.
That's awesome.
So I would sit there and just listen to that song back to back to back to back to back, and I was I need to figure out how to that song doesn't have any scratching in it, but it just had
but it's still kind of got. For anybody that remembers that song, we might be hearkening back to something most of our fans have never heard. But,
right.
But CNC Music Factory was kind of this electro. I don't even know what you call them, electro pop kind of group from the 80s, 90s.
Yeah,
and they had the song I think is "Everybody Dance Now" was one of them.
I think
Sweat was another one.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a bunch of jams, but it was kind of hard hitting electronics with samples and other things cut in.
A lot of cool noises.
Yeah, even though it wasn't really DJ music per se, it wasn't scratching records or whatever. There was definitely some samples dropped in there and cut up music. So I can understand how a young man might be inspired by that. So, and especially this song that you're talking about with the "Everybody Dance Now" drop in there.
Yep.
That's got to be one of those all time classics for DJs. I have to imagine, sort of like the jump around start. The start of the jump around song.
It comes right in, and it's so perfect to me.
Yeah.
So you were an Army brat. I didn't know that. Did you move? You were in Germany for a while. How often did you move? Were you?
I was all over the place for the very beginning. So probably the first 6 years of my life, and then I ended up settling down in Seattle. So then that's literally straight into kindergarten. Moved to Seattle.
Early 90s,
right
you settled in Seattle.
Yeah,
that's where where specifically? Renton area, Tacoma?
No, South Seattle.
South Seattle. Okay.
Columbia City, Rainier, all that kind of stuff.
That had to be an interesting spot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was fun. I grew up. It was some hard hitting times, but
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. An interesting place to go. I don't know how old you are, but old enough maybe to have grown up through sort of a grungy time in Seattle.
I'm about to be 30 this year. So
yeah. So it's interesting. The type of music that Seattle's sort of famous for, but beyond that music, there's such a cool scene there for DJs, for electronic musicians. musicians. You know, I mean, it's really just this cool eclectic city.
Yeah.
You know, and so growing up there must have been kind of inspiring. You know, because there's a lot of
different,
good quality DJs in the area. You know, Sir Mix-a-Lot, my boy. And, you know, everybody knows him. So we told my Mix-a-Lot story on the air one time, but basically he was willing to take a selfie with me, but moments later he told me he needed to wipe his ass. What? So we won't go deper than that.
That sounds like Mix-a-Lot though.
Yeah. So anyway, but I did get my selfie, and moments later I guess he took care of his business. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about coming up. So you're growing up in Seattle, and I mean, when do you pick up your first turntable? When do you get into the DJ biz?
So it was like 7th grade for me. I ended up moving out of South Seattle, so like I had to completely start over in middle school and all that kind of stuff, make new friends, blah 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 blah. Because I had moved to like Des Moines, Washington, like Federal Way-ish kind of area. So once I got out there, because I had to start over with everybody, it was kind of pointless for me to like, and I won't say pointless, but making new friends was just like not really my thing.
Sure,
so
and I guess that's kind of the plight of the Army brat, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
so around a lot.
In like the first summer of like 7th grade, my aunt and my mom was like, hey, we're gonna have you babysit. You're not doing anything this summer. Like, you're not gonna go to summer camp. You don't have any friends to go out and do anything with. So babysit your cousin and your little sister. And they were 3, 4. They were like, I had to like legit, take care of them.
Yeah, you couldn't just like put them in front of a TV and let them do
exactly. Even though I did that lots of times, I couldn't. So basically, what I would do is like not every single summer, but that first summer I did that, and then at the end of the summer they just took me school shopping. So if my aunt gave me $400 for the whole summer, then my mom gave me $400 for the whole summer school shopping, and then I just kept whatever money I didn't spend, or I just spent that throughout the year. So by the second summer that came around, I was just kind of like I was about 14 or so, and I was like, look, I don't want school clothes. I'm short. I'm not growing. Yeah. So I was like, I want turntables. And I had a friend, DJ Noise from Seattle as well, and he was he had his turntables and everything. So I would go over his house, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. They could fit in my room. Had to like sell it to my mom basically, and then she was like, all right, fine, no school clothes. Went and got like I think they're like Newmarks or something like that.
I was American DJ, the belt-driven ones.
Yeah. So it came with a mixer, 2 turntables. I bought like some little rolling monitors.
You actually got those ones from me.
Yeah,
I traded those turntables to him when he built my website.
Word.
That's what I paid him with.
Those are great turntables. I love those turntables. I did so much on those. So I mean, yeah. So that was basically it. I did that. Like my aunt like took me to Guitar Center, got the turntables. Then she took me to like Al's Music or something like that up there. I just grabbed like, I don't know, probably like 20 vinyls, just weird stuff, some Earth, Wind and Fire, Missy Elliott, just stuff that I could, try and put together. Then I started,
set to work.
Yeah.
So nowadays, and unfortunately I haven't been able to see you perform yet, but I mean, are you, I guess you've been at this long enough that you're sort of early vinyl, so you did legit vinyl work. Mm-hmm. Are you electronic now? How do you do it now? Do you still carry around crates, or do you?
I mean, it's funny. I actually do have. I will never stop, never not, whatever that means. Anyway, I always have vinyl on me, so I always have like 3 or 4 vinyls. I'm not sure what I have in my bag right now. I think I have. Like Lupe Fiasco's Kick Push and House of Pain Jump.
Well, you can't go anywhere without that one.
Exactly, right? Like that works if anything goes wrong.
Well, if your computer crashes, it's
nice to have a
surefire backup, right?
Minutes.
Exactly. So I'm like, all right, cool. That's like 106, 105 BPMs. Yeah.
It's like, what?
So yeah, I could drop that in and be like, all right, crap, I've
got 3 minutes to boot this computer.
Well, they used to have those clear... They had Serato Tone on one side. On the other side, I had like Party Up in here and a few other ones.
Like there was like Def Jam.
Yeah, Def Jams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to carry those with me religiously, just because Serato was fairly new and they kept crashing all the time. It was perfect for just that moment when you needed to reboot your computer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
well, sorry, so I jumped ahead. I got a little excited, but so you're starting to get into the scene. You're starting to buy some vinyl, things like that. One of the early things that I suppose it has to happen in any young DJ's life is they have to pick a name. Can we talk about how you decided your name? Have you always been DJ
I have
Vega?
an idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know he knows. But there's actually a story behind it. So
Cool.
This is, and it's funny because I don't think I've like really had the conversation about my first DJ name.
Oh, there's always that. Dude,
Yeah,
typing
so-
a name is the worst.
Yeah, so I know for a long time, and I think like only like 2 of my friends, even if they remember it, know that name, and it was like Rerun or something like that, with like 2 N's, and like that was like my very first DJ name.
Oh, how funny.
And I was like, cool, I'll run with that. And then around like 8th grade, so I had already had my turntables. I'd already been like staying home and just trying to practice as much as possible. And I ended up getting to my like social studies teacher was like, hey, you're gonna write a note to yourself in and she'll give it to us when we become seniors.
Oh, that's cool.
So once she did that, I ended up getting it as a senior. Around like 9th grade, she had me job shot. And I for the love of me, I cannot remember who the DJ was, but I ended up job shadowing him. He did like some pool party. He did some cool little cuts or whatever. I was like, super dope. I was incredibly trash, so I kind of got up there trying to do my thing. Didn't really work. Some kids came
Was
up
this
behind.
your first like public
Gig?
performance kind of thing?
Yeah, it was my first
right.
like real like kind of gig, I guess. So anyway, some kids came up behind me or whatever, and they were like, "Oh man, he was scratching, he was cutting like Vega," and I was like, "Oh!" So immediately I was like, "Oh, I play video games. I love Street Fighter." Vega, tight. I'm going with it. He scratches.
Done. Yep.
Done. Yep. And I just took that, ran with it. So I mean,
Nice.
technically, I stole it. I don't know.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. It works. So on that note, I have a theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was younger, I was into games like Tony Hawk, Street Fighter, games where you had to do like mad combos to get, like, you had to practice them and shit. And I have this thought that a lot of the scratch and battle DJs kind of enjoy similar style games, just because it's like you analyze the
playing
combo.
field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I got to do this up, down, left, and whatever to make this move happen. And cutting, I mean, like, trip flares and all this other stuff you got to do. You have to analyze how to manipulate the sound to do that. So I kind of have this, like, I think that the way our brains kind of, I'm not a battle DJ. I'm not a scratch DJ. I can front a little bit, but that's kind of like my thought process. I think that, growing up, I enjoyed those games, and I think that if I would have got into like the battle scene or the scratch scene earlier, that I would have really enjoyed it then, just because I would get lost in the just
Well,
trying
it
to
seems like
analyze
maybe
it,
you're
figure it out.
flexing that part of the brain when you're playing those kind of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that theory. I'm definitely going to take that theory because I'm a fighting game person. So
Do you use the actual pad with the joystick, or do
I'm like a C- on the pad. So
a
like I know
roommate
what
that just
buttons to
shredded
hit.
with that
but
shit.
Yeah, nah. I'll go to the arcade and knock about 5 out of like 7 people out, and then the rest I'll just get embarrassed. I'm like, nah, man.
Nice. They're actually here in Salt Lake, and I don't know if it's open yet, but you guys might check it out. There's an arcade bar going in.
An arcade
that's got
bar.
like all the old like 80s video games and stuff, but you can go and have drinks and play arcade games.
I will come back.
If not, there's one in LA for sure.
Well,
I don't know if this one's open, but
I
I've
know
been
that-
to one in LA.
I know there's one in Vegas,
Yeah.
in like old Vegas or something like that. I'll
So-
go to
what's
that all the
so-
time.
What's that one down in Belltown? There's one that Side goes to all the time.
What is it?
That one's pretty badass because it's all nothing but video games and like tap beers and shit like that.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of
Yeah.
it. But I know
We've been there a few times, so I can't remember what it's called.
There's Dorky's. Dorky's is in like Tacoma, and then there's 8-Bit. 8-Bit is in Renton.
Dorky's was fun because it was right across from Encore, and you could walk over
Yeah,
there in
yep.
between, and yeah, it was
And I
fun.
used to do that a lot too.
So before the show, a lot of our guests, we reach out and we have them fill out a little bit of a questionnaire. One thing I thought was kind of interesting, because it seems like such a departure, we ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And on your response, you put a botanist or a vet. So can you talk about what drew you to those fields? And because it feels like a completely different part of the brain.
Yeah.
Is that just something you liked as a kid and then grew out of, or what do you think?
I don't like the word weird. I feel it's like dismissive. Like if you say
if
weird,
you don't understand it, it's pretty
exactly
much what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was always that kind of kid that was just kind of like off by myself doing weird stuff. So for whatever reason, I like kind of took a latch on to like plants and stuff like that. So like I eat fruit more than anything else. So like it was one of those things I was like, I would eat fruit and then I'm like, okay, cool. How does this grow? How does this grow? Why does it grow like this? Where does it come from? Why is it this color and not this color and stuff like that? So I would always just find myself like in
Analyzing
these different
things.
Yeah, exactly. So like all that kind of stuff. Like I would be outside picking an apple and like breaking it open and just kind of being like, tight. Okay, cool. and just trying to like figure things out or whatever. So like at a young age, I was always interested in that. And then with animals, it was just more so me having a love for animals that I was just like, oh yeah, cool. And then once I got older and I was like, yo, I got to cut them open. And I was like, nah, never mind. Never mind.
Well, but it makes sense. Somebody who's sort of young and analytical and, really interested in the world around them. It makes sense that you might wind up in a career like this that's kind of creative and exciting. And, you're drawn to solving a challenge, whatever that is, whether you're learning about a plant or whatever, or, the technical side of being a DJ or performing live or any of that stuff. It's sort of, it feels completely different, but it's still got some parallels there, I think.
Yeah.
So same kind of brain anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So going back, so now we have a name. We became DJ Vega. What do we do with our name? I mean, you finally got a name. Are you performing at this time? Are you just following people and honing your craft? Where was the next step for you?
My next step after that was just practicing, because like I can't remember what DJ said it, but basically like DJing when you're not good or when you're just starting, it's all art. So like if it's like when you have the big canvas and you're just kind of like splashing paint on it, and then eventually it turns into a masterpiece. That's what I was doing in my room with DJing, just that for like 2 summers straight. So my first like real gig or whatever was I think I was a sophomore. It was my high school homecoming.
Okay.
So I did that
Nice.
and was like, all right, tight. But they looked at me more so as like, oh, it's cool that you DJ. So, you guys can just run off of that. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I got like an A in math or something, which was like, because they couldn't pay me, but that was like
They hook you up with a grade.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was like my next step after that. And then, I've always watched like old school, like DMC videos, and like, I never wanted to like compare myself to anybody, but those were the type of people that I followed. I liked
so
that.
like Jazzy Jeff, Rock Raider, and Craze, and those guys. Yeah.
Definitely. Like Rock Raider is probably like, they sit in 2 different, like Jazzy Jeff is my top, and then Rock Raider is my top for like battle DJs, I guess. Like the weird stuff that he would do, I'm just like, that's so dope. Like I just love that. So
see, I wish I would have gotten into like, because I started as a wedding mobile DJ and I did 0 mixing. I didn't do any, like I hit play on a CD, loaded another one, waited for the other one to end, and hit play on the next one when it started. And I did that for, God, probably 15, 16 years before Serato kind of came around.
Oh, word, okay.
And then my homie had Serato, and he's like, dude, you got to check this out. And at that time, I was like, wanting to get out of it. Like I was like, this is old and annoying. I hate what I'm doing. It's just whatever. And it kind of like triggered it for me again and made it more of a performance and something that I really enjoyed. And I got into it and was practicing 4 or 5 hours a day, just trying to learn out how to do all this stuff. And I missed out on the early Jazzy Jeff and the Rock Raider and the A-Track because it was out of my wheelhouse. It wasn't what I was like into at a younger age. And now I feel like I'm learning so much just because, like, for example, just getting ready for this set, I went and I watched some old Rock Radio videos, and I watched some of the shit that, like, I missed out on at a younger age, and it's kind of fun for me to go back and relive it and kind of like experience it for the first time. So it's cool, but I wish I would have had that at a younger age,
at the beginning,
I could have like built from there instead of just the last 6 or 7 years.
Definitely.
But so was there like, did you ever get to see him live? Do you ever get to see?
No, unfortunately, I never got to see Rock Raider live. So it's not a full story, but basically, I went to go see the Executioners at some hot import nights or something like that up in Seattle, and I was super excited. Ended up getting there late, and I ended up getting. Like I just missed their set basically. So dude. I got autographs from everybody, like Rob Swift, Total Eclipse, like, and Rock Raider. They hooked me up, but I was like, damn. I was like, I missed it. Yeah. And Jazzy Jeff, I've seen live like many of times.
Yeah, I've never seen him. I haven't seen Craze. I've seen like Four Color Zach a few times. I totally fanboyed out on him. It was I was so drunk, and it was bad.
He's super funny too. Yeah. He's like very like down to earth and like just he does not care. It's funny.
So you recently made a mix. Mm-hmm. It's called Toonami, and I think it pulls from the Cartoon Network kind of days.
Yeah.
I listened to it last night. It's actually pretty badass.
Thank you.
It's chill. All your cuts are super clean.
Thank you.
Like really good. I don't think people like the intro of that mix is dope because you sampled a shit ton of stuff and you did a play on words and stuff with it. I don't think people understand how hard it is to gather those samples.
I'm not gonna take credit for that. I can't take credit for that. That was a Toonami like a what do you call it? A Toonami like interlude or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you found it and it was already put together.
So it was already like chopped up. I was gonna say I can't take it.
I was like, dude, that's like 7 hours of work just finding the samples and pulling that shit in. That's not easy.
No, I've done it before, but not for this one. I was like, that's way too much, man. That's way. It just had like all these different cuts from different shows, and I like when I first started the mix, I had like taken that and I was like, okay, well, I don't like this show. I don't like that part. This part's not gonna make sense. So I did try and do that, and then after like an hour of messing around with it, I was like,
fuck this.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just keep it. I was like, somebody could take something from everything. So
can you break that down a little bit, like the process of putting that mix together?
Well, and maybe not even focus on that one specifically, but for people who maybe aren't DJs themselves, but we're just trying to talk about creative process. Maybe this isn't the one, but think about some other mix that you've done, something you're particularly proud of. Can you talk a little bit about the process of maybe choosing a theme, finding your samples, that kind of thing? Can you just talk a little bit about your process when I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to do my next big thing?
Yeah. So like probably the one that I'm most proud of is called 88 Degrees. And that one, that was the last one I put out right before this one. And just like the theme of it, I wanted it to be the, what do you call it? Like the one that you kind of like ride around in the car to.
And just so it's jam out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have that, but at the same time, that one tells a story. So it literally was a full summer day, like how we have an extra hour of sun. Did I say that right? Or we lost hour? Which one is it?
I think we
lose hour.
Lost. We had to get up earlier. I know that.
Yeah, we lost an hour's sleep. I know that much. Everybody's bitching.
But the days are longer. And so basically with that mix, I made it so it was like, I think I even started the mix off it like kind of like fades in, and I think it had like birds chirping or something like that. So it was like, you wake up in the morning, you have, this cool little jazzy beat or whatever. Then, maybe you check your phone and then it's like, oh crap, this girl who texted me, my crush or whatever. So let me go talk to her. Then there's a whole bunch of like, I won't say filler, but like it kind of like just goes throughout the day. So then it ends up that you are, actually talking to this girl. You see her down at the beach or you see her at the park or whatever. So now, and then basically all those songs kind of coincide with your day.
Oh, that's cool. So you're kind of telling a story.
Mm-hmm. So then listen to that on the drive home and try and just kind of put that together.
Yeah. So then like towards the end, I think there's actually a song in there, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I know it's towards the end though, because I like slowed it down, but it's like called 12 a.m. So it's literally, you've been having fun all day. You were talking to your crush or whatever. You kicking it with your boys, just a whole entire day. Then 12 a.m. comes and it's like, okay, all your boys left. You don't know what you're going to do. Are you going to go home? Or are you going to text her? Oh crap, she texts you. You know what I'm saying? So like
it's soft.
Yeah, it's literally a whole entire story. So that I love that mix. Like I could listen to that mix all the day.
Yeah,
awesome.
that is really cool. Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I've listened to a million mixes from a million different DJs, and I guess I've never really thought about it that way, as being sort of telling a story. And maybe they aren't all telling stories, but I think one thing that, people who are DJs and those who aren't can sort of unite under is this. I mean, and I know for me, especially being around music for so many years, it's really easy for me to form a narrative in my brain when I'm listening to music. Like I could go back and listen to this thing and I'm gonna have to check it out. But like I could for sure put together that that same storyline in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most powerful things about music, right? Is how people can listen to a song and it just evokes such powerful feelings.
Right.
So here you are walking them through a story. You're giving them kind of a narrative, but as the person's listening to it, each song is going to have a different meaning for that person, but it's all a part of this narrative,
Yeah.
whether it's their crush or maybe it's just this summer fling or, whatever it is. But, I mean, they're going to get something out of it that's what you're giving plus something.
Yeah.
And I think that's really maybe my favorite thing about music, as opposed to some other arts. And, I mean, people get, emotions or other things taken out of, paintings or whatever. But I think music really cuts to the bone for a lot of people. And you don't have to know anything about music to feel that.
Yeah. And people, like, you're going to take something away from music that he didn't, and vice versa, So, like, that same mix or any of my mixes is kind of just like I put it on the table and, like, whatever you take from it, I could have been going that way, but it's like, that's what you got from it.
Yeah.
Dope. Take that. Let that mix be, something that means something to you.
Yeah. I love that. And I really do. Like I said, I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but I really do think that's like the most powerful thing about music. It makes it such a cool art form. And I think I mean, for the people who write the music and who sing and perform the songs, of course, it means something different to them too, know? And so it's kind of cool, this concept of grabbing somebody's song and remixing it and making it do the job you want it to do and tell the story you want it to tell.
Yeah, I've never really actually thought of it that way, you know, because the artist has the initial intent to the song, and then we can kind of spin it in our own way and sample like just a sentence
Word
and then
play,
go,
all that,
yeah, that's cool. I love it when you're doing something like, because I don't really pre-plan a lot of my sets. I do have a couple like go-tos for 2 or 3 songs if I need a few minutes
that's what it is nowadays. Like the crowd, if we're just talking about like in the club or something like that, the crowd is so like ADD driven, like they just
you never
don't
know
pay
what's going to
attention.
work, and you kind of have to jump around. But I love it when it accidentally happens, like the word play or whatever, like you end on a word and it's the perfect going into the next song works perfectly. And I try and make a note of that. I'll always like get my phone out and take a picture of the Serato, both decks, so I can remember that for next time.
I have a whole bunch of go-tos and stuff like that. I always try and do something totally different, but like if I see the crowd isn't like moving or anything, then I'm like, oh, okay, let me go right into this because I know this works. So it's like a stepping stone. So
what else?
Well, so one thing I know about you is, I mean, being sort of an outsider, I'm aware of the Red Bull 3-style competition, and I know that you happen to place pretty well in it. But what I thought was interesting is not only did you list that as a great accomplishment, but also as a failure.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk a little 3-style if it's not too sensitive.
Oh no, it's fine. I talk about it all the time.
Let's explain what it is for people who don't know, and then let's talk about your experience with it.
Okay. So 3-style basically is Red Bull 3-style. They take DJs from around the world, and they basically have the criteria of it is to mix at least 3 different styles of music, 3 different genres of music, and then also add in like your technicality and originality and style. So that's basically what it is. Big DJ competition worldwide, and it's been getting bigger since like the very first one. So
how long has it been out? Like 7-8 years now?
Yeah.
Was Zach like the second year?
Zach was the second.
Okay, yeah, because I hadn't heard of it, and then all of a sudden he was world champion. I'm like, what?
Right? Crazy. Yeah. Oh man, and I love both of these guys to death. But Zach, I was at the one that he won, and he threw a dildo, and I was like, that's the craziest shit I've ever seen, bro. I was like, man, and then and it's cool because he threw it at one of my really good friends. So I was like,
awesome.
I was like, you got to do something anyway. But so basically, I ended up, I got into it, and I didn't think I was going to get into it at all. I just kind of like, they were like, yo, send your 5-minute video. I was like, cool. I sent it in, and that was the other thing. I was so busy, I like kind of procrastinated.
Yeah.
But when I finally got to do it, like, my mixer was broken. Something was wrong that I couldn't like do it at my house. So I went to my friend Rockwright. I went to his house, and I was like, all right, cool. And he had like his kid running around. I was like, yo, get your kid out of here. I gotta do this like 5-minute video. Yeah. So I go in there, I do the video, and like, obviously when you look back on it, you're like, I can do way better, blah, blah, blah. But I sent it in on like the second to last day of the deadline. They hit me back and they were like, hey, you're in. And it was like when they were doing regionals. So it was like me, Jay Espinoza, Supaji,
Dude,
DJ
I
Dopey.
lent a 1200 to Sapaji so he could practice for that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
He had one of my decks for like 3 months.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle. Yeah. So yeah, that was crazy. Like I went up there and I was like, that was the accomplishment. I was super excited. I was completely geeked. Like
That was the one down in Eugene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that had completely thrown me over the edge. I was like, oh, I'm the greatest, blah, 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 blah. And like, I guess that's right when Supaji had moved to Seattle. Like
Dude,
he had only been there.
demolished like that.
Yeah.
That battle in Aston. No one was expecting that. You know, like it was nothing. He came.
He was a sleeper
slaughtered.
pick. He was a sleeper pick. Like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like it was funny. I ran into him at the airport, like when we were flying down there. So he just popped up. And he was like, "Oh, you're Vega." I was like, "You must be Sabaji," you know. So then I like kind of linked with him. But like the thing about me is like I'm always hungry. So like when it comes to like a battle, it's like, "Oh, that's dope. You can do that. I can do this." Like I always push that limit, always. So the accomplishment was getting into it. I was excited. I was super happy. Everything cool. The failure of it was I had this whole entire set. I had like, so you're supposed to do 15-minute sets, and I had a maybe like an 18-minute set.
Yeah.
So I know I went over, but I went I think I went third or fourth like in the lineup. And what was it, like the people before me, they were playing songs that I played or that I had in my set.
It was hot at the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they had those songs in their sets, and I was like, dang. So I'm like downstairs, like listening to it, and I'm like, damn. I'm like,
did you just change it on the fly?
I did.
Serious?
Yeah, I
That's
really did.
Ballsy, dude.
Yeah, it's very ballsy, and that's why like I did so like. So looking back at that whole experience, I shouldn't have changed it because I know that I would have been able to like. I would have gave the judges way more harder time to like pick.
Yeah.
So, you know, shout out to all the DJs that were in that regional with me. But like, I remember like Supaji did it, and I was like, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Cool. But I know what I brought to the table compared to him and Espinoza. Like Espinoza was just super, super clean.
Oh,
right?
Everything he does is clean.
Yeah, he was super, super clean. I was like, damn, bro. I was like, why is it so clean? I was like, oh, I hate you. It's so clean, you know. And then Supaji came up there and just was like explosive. And
Well,
I was
he
like,
had a lot of rock thrown into his set too.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then I was like, okay, well, if you guys are doing all that, I can only be me.
Yeah.
So I went up there and I did like I did a whole bunch of video game tracks and like remixed those and blended those. I played like the Frozen soundtrack, or not soundtrack, but the Let It Go or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Build a Snowman, one of the two. And then I did I played like this tequila remix, and I stuck a bottle of tequila on stage of like Jose Cuervo.
Nice.
And I like ended up chugging as much as I could before the drop, and I probably had like 4 or 5 minutes left, which was stupid. But I went up there and was just like, you know, so the horns are playing, dun, 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 and I'm just chugging this tequila, and I'm like, oh shit, when is it over? When is it over? And as soon as it got done, I just held the bottle up. I was like, tequila, and honestly,
And then
I
fell
think,
over.
yeah, just damn near. I think that's what kind of like pushed me over the edge for them to be like, he's
a little.
he's special. Like, he played some random track from Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's drinking tequila on stage. You know, so
Well,
That's great. Is there somewhere to see that video? Is it on YouTube or something?
ooh,
He's like, no.
It's I'm pretty sure I have the clip of me doing the tequila thing.
Oh, nice.
I know somebody recorded it. I know I have it on my phone
Been
somewhere.
scrubbed from the internet.
Nah, yeah. Nah, like if that set was up, like I know the actual recorded set is on Mixcloud. It's on like their Mixcloud because it's like it comes up all the time in my queue. So yeah, but you know.
So, how long after that did you get like Fantasy League DJs together? Because that's been over the last 2 or 3 years at least. I've seen that.
So with that, I ended up going. So okay, 3 styles done. I kind of like, you know, took the buzz off of that. It was like, all right, cool. There was a couple people like looking at me like, oh man, you should do this mix for this radio station and stuff like that. Cool. I ended up coming back home. I was just like, dang, I didn't get it. Like if I would have got second, I would have been like, okay, cool.
Now
if
you're moving on to-
Espinoza gets sick, you know, I could, you know, I don't want you to get sick, Espinoza, but you know, so I was like, ah, damn, that would be tight. But third, I took it. I got my bronze, whatever.
Well, just to get that far says a lot. I mean, because
Yeah,
out of
thank
every
you.
DJ in like Seattle that applied, and Espinosa's from like L.A. or San Francisco or something.
The Bay. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the whole West Coast.
Yeah.
And to get third, that's pretty damn good.
It was.
So.
I like I said, I take that medal. I'm super proud of that medal. It's just I could have done better, and I always beat myself up. So that's just that's why it's the failure.
I say this all
the
the time. We're our own worst critics. I look at my shit and I'm like, God, dude, I've pulled so many mixes down that I thought were badass at the time. And I go through and listen to, dude, I fucked up there. Why am I doing this shit?
And it's crazy because other people probably wouldn't even catch that.
Not even care.
That's the messed up part.
Well, it's funny. Like I'm the same in that. So I work in advertising, but I illustrate and I draw and I do all this stuff. And people always ask me, do you have any tattoos? Have you ever drawn any tattoos? And I don't have any tattoos that I've drawn of my own. And people are like, well, why don't you just draw up some tattoos and go get some things done? And I'm the same in that once I've drawn it, if I come back to it in like 6 months, I hate it. Like, I mean, just, you grow and you evolve in your craft, whatever it is, whether you're a DJ or an artist or whatever.
Yeah.
And, to go back and look at that old stuff, I think if you're fully satisfied, you might be, insanely narcissistic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like you kind of are meant to feel bad about whatever you did before because now you're better. You keep working on it. You keep grinding, you keep improving.
There's always room for improvement. So like with the fancy, I ended up, I came back home. I was like, all right, cool, you guys. I'm gonna go sit in my dungeon from by myself for a little bit, and then I was interning at Cube when it was still around.
Oh yeah, so, before that.
Yeah, before the whole switch up and everything. Yeah, so I was working there. I was like an actual employee, and then DJ Rockwright that came in. He was an intern, and I was like, "Cool, you're a DJ." He was like very shy or whatever. So I was like, "Dang, there's some gigs that I get that I can't do." So I trust you. Come on, let's do this. Me and him start talking. We start doing gigs together. It was like, hey man, we should start a crew of DJs. And I was like, cool. What's going to be the goal? And I mean, at that time,
I was going to ask you, what's the goal of Fantasy League DJ?
Yeah, the goal of it now is literally just to kind of like have a base of DJs because there's so many like cliques, like almost everywhere you go. Like, and that's kind of like, almost like stepping on his own toes or whatever. But we wanted to have a clique of DJs that shared everything. We wanted to have a base of DJs that shared
equipment,
exactly. Like, I mean, that's basically a base because like, you'll have your cliques over here who only, sit within their circle. Right. And we're like, all right, that's cool or whatever. So we wanted to just be able to say, you guys can come to us for everything kind of thing, and then, I mean, but like at the time we definitely were like, yo, we just wanted to take over. We just wanted to be,
well, and with your
guys.
talent level, you pretty much did.
I'm not gonna say I took over Seattle, but I definitely made sure that I was like everywhere as much as I could be. So
one thing that I think is cool about having like a crew like that, and Ryan and we go back a long time into like working with bands and promoting concerts and stuff like that.
We do not have a crew though. We need a crew.
Well,
I mean, I guess now we have kind of the Eggs crew.
Close,
it's
but not quite.
The same.
What I was getting at is like bands, for example, when you're on the road with like 6 or 7 guys, you've got that group of people, that network, and you got like one guy that's good at this and one guy that's good at that, and you've got that camaraderie. With DJs, when I moved to Seattle, I stepped back from the promotion side of things and working with bands, and that's when I found Serato and I wanted to become quote unquote an artist, whatever, and a performer per se. And I noticed that it was so different because you didn't have that group of guys that were working towards the same goal.
Pushing each other.
It was like a solo kind of thing. Like either you do it or you don't. And I think the thought process behind Fantasy League DJs is dope because not only that, you've got a group of guys that are, they all they're good DJs, and it's kind of like competition between you two. I bet it motivates you to know others. Like just
I go after everybody's head.
That's awesome.
If I'm not the big brother, and I hope they listen to this so I can, if they don't already know, like
we'll tag him in it.
Definitely, because like like we got Famous. He's like, that's my cousin, so like he's like my little brother. He's Famous. He's the guy. He's the star, if you will.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, he brings crazy energy. Right. We got Rockwright. Rockwright is I won't necessarily call him the wild card because somebody else is the wild card, but he's the one that will surprise you. He's the chameleon. There we go. Okay. That's what he is. Lou Rock is I always call him the in-house Ginsu. He's our sword because
Okay.
his cuts are just super crazy.
Super
and
crisp.
He cuts way better than me, but I do a lot of other stuff better than him. I hope you heard that, Lou. And then who else do we have? Raph is our wild card. Noise is our token because everybody so far is Asian and black. And then he just he always stands out with us. He's the white guy.
That one guy.
Yeah. So like we'll all go somewhere and he'll just kind of be like, yeah, hey guys. And everybody's like, well, who is that? And I'm like, yo, don't
worry.
mess with that. That's our guy. That's our guy, you know? And then we just put on Just Jordan. And Just Jordan is he's the youngest. So he comes in there, he does his thing, and he has he has crazy versatility.
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole crew is just
See, I
super dope.
wish I would have because Lou Rock and all these guys, I've know their names from Facebook.
Yeah.
That's about it. You know,
Right,
I've
okay.
never kicked it with any of them, but I think they would be a lot of fun to hang out with and stuff. Just to,
Lou's a wild one too.
Are they all part of like the Scratch Lounge cats, or are they
So like within our group, so what is it? Okay, cool. The ones who go to Scratch Lounge out of the group of Fantasy League is probably me and Lou.
Yeah.
So Lou cuts, I cut. You know, everybody else they cut, but they don't take it super far.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean they're busy. They got kids, they got families, they got other lives, stuff like that. So like it got so intense that me and Lou kind of started our own group.
Oh, really?
So not to we see duos are like the thing now. So like 2 Cents is like running everywhere right now. So like me and Lou's chemistry, and then me and him do Aston every Friday.
Okay.
So our chemistry is just like unparalleled. So we'll sit there and like,
Well, because you can bounce off. You've played so much with each other.
Exactly.
You know what's going to happen. You can kind of play off each other.
and,
Yeah.
Like right before I left on tour, like me and him were talking about it, and we did a 2x4 at Aston, and just because we had the space, and we started messing around, and like we hadn't done that in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And we just started playing around and didn't even have to say nothing to each other. We just started like jumping on each other's sets.
That's
And we were
badass.
like, damn, this is crazy. So
That's cool.
yeah.
I've done. I went to Scratch Lounge twice. Well, 3 times. The first time I just kind of was the guy creeping in the back, watching what's going on, and then I tried to jump on once, and then that didn't go so well, and then the third time I actually kind of got in and did a couple rounds with them. But that's the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, you got these brilliant like masters at the craft, and I'm this little noob, kind of like, hey, look, I can chirp.
Yeah.
You know,
Nah, they're that whole squad is intimidating. Like no other.
Yeah.
Sonny and Glenn, like, man, them guys are crazy.
it's
like,
insane. Yeah.
Well, and do you find that by working and surrounding yourself with a crew of guys like that, like, do you guys push each other to make each other better?
Yeah,
Like, are you guys
Always.
working on each other all the time?
always.
Do you guys like get together once a week kind of thing, do a barbecue and just cut?
Well, Scratch Lounge does that. They do that once a month. So
Okay.
every first Thursday they get down. But like with Fantasy League, like we try and link up, but if we don't get all 6 of us together, then wait, is it 6? I think it's 6, maybe 7. I can't remember. But we always try and get together at least like the 3 of us, or 4 over here or something like that. But now it's like to the point where we've made a name in Seattle that like resonates, that it's like, oh, Fantasy League, okay, so you're cool with Rock Right. Oh, you're cool with Lou Rock. Oh, you're cool with Vega. Oh, you're cool with Famous. That is kind of like a term of endearment where people go, oh, okay, I'll give you a chance at this club,
Nice.
and it kind of works. So we didn't mean for that to happen.
It
but
just kind of did.
yeah.
So, well, I mean, if you're taking them in under your quote unquote umbrella of Fantasy League, you're pretty much saying, like,
they're good enough.
Yeah, they're good enough.
Yeah. We trust them and we do good. So that means wherever we send them or wherever we want them to go or wherever they get to go, they're representing the name, and
Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I think is badass that you do is your YouTube videos, and
right.
your little the Mario into what was it? Back that ass up or something like what?
What did that?
Blow the whistle.
Blow the whistle. Yeah.
Yep. Shit like that, even though it's like a 15, 20-second little video, I think it's cool. I think it serves a lot of purposes. A, it showcases your talent, and B, it kind of brands you. You kind of get the Vega and Fantasy League out there, and I think it's just a brilliant move. And I don't know why more people don't do it. And
Man, I've been saying that for so long.
yeah,
Like I would do. I was doing videos in like same situation. I'm looking back on some of those videos like, ugh, man,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I was doing videos as soon as Instagram could do videos. I was like, let me take a shot at this, and I didn't really see any other DJs minus like, you know, you got your Craze and like, you know, people like that doing videos. So I was like, let me shoot a video. Let me just do this.
Yeah. So for people like you who are working different bars and moving around and working different areas, have you found like social media is your jam? Like, is that how word spreads about you, or is it all word of mouth, or a good combination of things?
Instagram has helped a lot. Instagram and hashtags. Like I've definitely, I mean, I ended up getting a gig for, what is his name? He is a Grammy-winning violinist, Dame Escobar, I think his name is, or something like that. He's from New York. Oh, I don't want to mess that up. He's from the East. That's all I know. But
we'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah, his manager just randomly hit me up like probably like a week before the show and was like, "Hey, you know, I found you on Instagram. You want to like be our, you know, our house, our opening, our house DJ, our, you know, whatever." And I was like, yeah, sure. And I didn't know what to think of it. And I show up and it was like, you know, what was it the Neptune? And it was just, it was like incredibly packed out and everything. And it was just like, I was here. And literally off of my Instagram videos, which were something completely different from what she and he wanted me to do on stage.
Right.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, we trust you. You're creative. You're dope. Come do this in front of everybody.
That's cool. So have you found like in general you get an overall increase in bookings and all that stuff off the social media primarily?
If you think about it, by doing that 15-second set and, you know, killing it each time, you're essentially building your resume each time. You're each time you put something out, that's something for people to see. It's something, you know, and
the portfolio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like an artist portfolio, right?
Yeah, that's how I've been treating Instagram.
Always designing, always working, and just publishing your work.
Mm-hmm.
So let's transition this conversation a little bit, and let's talk about not just like the DJ in the club scene, but let's talk more about what we're doing tonight. So we're on the road again with Ryan Caraveo.
Mm-hmm.
He's out supporting his new album, and DJ Vega and Ryan are out together touring together.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about how this came to be, how you wound up being a road guy versus just a club DJ?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for him in the sense of like, you know.
I'll show you can. We won't tell.
I mean, just, you know, like the quick story behind that is his manager at the time ended up putting us together. Hey man, can you do his first show at Numo's for Dirt Nasty? We're opening up. Cool. You know, I like his music. He's tight. Cool. And then I did that. He's funny and witty or whatever. So me and him click, and I was like, all right, cool. I can mess with him on a long term basis. And then literally we just kept building every single time. So me as an outsider looking in on some of the stuff, he would go and do shows, and there's like fans in the front row crying. And our age gap, I think I got him by like 5 years or something like that. So I'm looking at him like, what? Why are these girls crying at me? Like, who are you? This is dope. But I was like,
young kid.
Yeah, all we get is a little titty flash every now and
yeah,
then. That's
exactly.
it.
So I was like, damn, man. I was like, I want that. I want girls to cry over me. But like, he was just eating all of it up. And it was just, he was so calm. He was so humble about it. And I was like, dang, I really like this guy. So then like, it all happened so fast. Next thing you know, we're doing out of state shows. Next thing you know, we're, you know, on tour. And I was like, cool. And I've done tours before. So I've kind of been in the mindset of like, okay, this is what I need to do for a tour. I need to be ready every single night. My voice needs to be ready. I need to, you know, do this, do that. What am I bringing to the table?
Do you jump on the mic during the set?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm DJ, hype man, engineer. Yeah.
Dude, see, that's one thing
the man
I
of many
struggle
hats.
with. Like I hate to say I'm on the tables. I try to tell stories and do shit here and there, but getting on the mic and being hype, I really do need to work on that. And it's
all about finding your voice, man.
Yeah.
I definitely had to find my voice after a couple shows or whatever, and I hope I found it. I think I found it. I've heard some playbacks. So.
I played at Jazzbone down in Tacoma once, and they had an MC there, and that's the only time I've ever played with an MC or a hype guy, and it was the coolest thing ever. Like it added so much to like I felt like I was performing and I was interacting with the crowd more, and it changed everything.
Yeah,
and I haven't gotten to experience that again, and I wish that I could get back into some of those venues where he had that.
The art of that is kind of dying just because there's so many, quote unquote MCs, but they don't. They just want to be famous on the mic.
Yeah.
So then that's why, like on the East Coast, it's the DJ has the mic. They're not giving it to anybody else unless hey, I'm just doing my thing or whatever. So then I'm like, man,
we just got shot with a Nerf gun.
See, I didn't even react to that though. I'm used to that. Anyway, so I ended up like, just kind of like, all right, well, you have your artist, okay, you have your MC, however, whatever category you want to put those guys in, and then you have them yelling over the mic sometimes while you're trying to DJ.
And so sometimes that sucks ass. I've gone to sets where it's like he's trying to be on top of you instead of supporting you.
Exactly.
And when you find that perfect combination, like that one night, that's one of those nights I get goosebumps just thinking about. It was that good of a night.
That's dope. That's perfect.
Yeah. that very when you have nights like that, it makes up for all the shitty nights that you've sat through over the last year, and then you get that one.
At least 5 of them. It makes up for.
Yeah,
definitely.
So
having done club and tour, what's your favorite? Do you like being on the road? I mean, was growing up an Army brat, did that train you to be on the road?
Nah, but I definitely love being on the road though. I just because like I can rant forever about like DJs who get things that I'm like, man, you didn't put in the work. How did you get to skip all these steps? And I'm like, I'm over here grinding. How did this happen? So I'll sit at home and I'll watch everybody and I'm like, you could do better. And it's not me hating. It's not me being an asshole. It's literally, you could do better. I could do better. So then it's like, I know I could do better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on the road and I'm going to do as much as I can on the road. So yeah, basically to answer your question, yes, I love the road way more than the
great.
clubs.
Well, and I mean, we've had the pleasure of just meeting a handful of crew and we met Ryan earlier. And I mean, at least in this particular group, you've got a good group of guys. Everybody seems cool. Down to earth, real nice people, and that certainly makes for an easier tour.
Definitely.
Also, I think weather's probably cooperated. This is an ideal tour time.
Oh, yeah, so far, yeah.
So you guys have been lucky, dodged a couple bullets, I think.
Yeah.
So, so talk about this tour a little bit. What have the experiences been like? What are the shows like?
So, I mean, all the shows so far have been like really, really, really good. Like, if there were scales of 1 to 10, we've had like a whole bunch of 12s.
Oh, nice.
And then we might have like like a 6 or a 7, but they weren't trash. It was literally just like, okay, we know where we stand in this city, but next time around it's gonna be bigger.
Yeah,
just because of like the path that he's on. So far it's been good, man. I haven't had any complaints.
So where did this tour start?
We did our first show in Seattle at the Neptune. We sold out the Neptune.
Oh, that's
and then
great.
It was like a week before we left. Then we hit Portland, Eugene, Berkeley, Santa Cruz.
Okay, so worked your way down the coast.
Yeah, exactly. Phoenix, Albuquerque.
Came over, I heard Albuquerque last night or yesterday?
No, yesterday was a day off, so the day before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then here in Salt Lake, heading to Colorado from here.
Yeah.
Hopefully the good weather stays with you. We actually, back in the old days, our guest from last week was this band Mix Mob that I used to tour with, and we got.
I listened to that.
That was a fun one.
We got snowed in Vail, and we were stuck at the hotel. Oh God, what are they called? With the Digital Underground.
Oh,
where? The dude
That's
from
tight.
the Humpty Dance.
Yeah.
So we were hanging around with that guy in Vail because we were stuck there for like 2 days.
Damn.
So, but I think you're gonna get through there nice and easy. So, so from Colorado, how much longer does this go?
We have. It's in the double digits.
I think I counted them. There's like 22 or 23 shows
I think,
left.
No, 20. Oh, 20.
Wow.
Yeah, left. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
wow. So you guys are off the road in like May.
No. These are all back
nightly.
to back.
Yeah.
These are back to back.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
get home
Yeah,
like.
I feel bad for the guy driving for you.
Yeah,
Like I was.
he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's what a cool experience. That's awesome. And actually, I mean, I hate to admit it, but I didn't know Ryan before tonight. Obviously we studied up a little bit before the show, and I had an opportunity to listen to his music, and yeah, really cool. And so I think that this is going to be a great show tonight. I mean, there was a line of people outside the venue when we got here, and we got here early.
It's crazy, right?
So,
Yeah.
so it's pretty crazy. I mean, these kids were down here by 4:00,
Yeah.
and
it still gets me every time.
yeah, it's really
that
cool.
is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be kind of a surreal moment. You've been performing in front of crowds maybe long enough. You get used to it a little
Well,
bit.
the difference is though, is like at a nightclub, the nightclub kind of gets the draw. versus
definitely
the DJ. You can rotate the DJ out, and it's, it feels like they're there for you, but it's not like they're standing in line to see you, and that's entirely different.
But that's when residencies come in.
Yeah.
So then people legit go, Friday, I know where to go. So I mean,
True.
it's both sides of the coin though. Definitely that.
But,
Cool. Well, hey, one of the other things that I guess it came up on our questionnaire, and I thought it was really interesting, was that you were asked what was the most difficult thing about your field or your career DJing, and you mentioned that the most difficult thing is separating yourself from the bullshit society see thing in kind of a different light than you do. And I wondered if you could maybe extrapolate on that a little bit. And Mike, maybe you can talk more about this, but like coming from your background in the wedding and mobile DJ side of things, like maybe you didn't realize how crazy the industry was.
It's a change, that's for sure. I mean, you got to understand that it's a tight group of people and shit gets out. It's you can't say something about someone because someone's going to find out about it. You can't say something about this. You can't. It was a learning curve for me, and to be honest with you, it's very cliquey, and I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
you get shunned, for there's probably something I might have said on here today.
Yeah,
somebody's gonna be like,
you're thinking
I don't
right
like
now,
him
what
no
the fuck did I say?
Yeah. So I don't like him anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna book him here. What do you mean?
Well, I think there's something to that idea of just sort of separating yourself from that bullshit and trying to maintain your, sovereignty and happiness and living your life without getting too caught up in that stuff. And I think that's like maybe a good note, for people to come go out on. Yeah, is I think it's really important that in whatever your trade is or your craft is or whatever, that you sort of stay true to yourself.
Yeah, be happy, man.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
so
that's probably what's gotten me to where I'm at now. Is just I don't
do
try
your thing, and
I don't try and copy anybody. I'm just like, that was cool.
Well, and that's it. Be secure in you. Yeah, and be the best version of you that you can be. But don't get drugged down by the folks who will pull you back.
Exactly.
So anyway, so to sort of wrap up, tonight's show sold out. So good luck. I guess you're not getting in. And that's fantastic. We got Denver tomorrow night and 20-some dates beyond that. Yeah. So follow the social media networks and all that stuff. You can follow Zamari here, DJ Vega, on Twitter at Vega the Virgo, on Mixcloud at mixcloud.com/Vega the Virgo, on Instagram, that DJ Vega. And his website, I guess, has all the tour dates and everything on it. Yeah. Thatdjvega.com.
You can follow me at djontic.com. All my social links and all that bullshit's there. Yep. Ryan is
r2mg.com.
Yep.
And and then check out Ryan Caraveo's new album, At Least I Tried. They're out supporting it right now. If you are in a city that they happen to be hitting up, get your tickets, get out and see them. You're going to have a lot of fun. And you'll be damn glad you did. So, and it's probably going to be sold out by the time you hear about this, but this tour wraps up in Capitol Hill Block Party in Seattle.
That's a huge deal.
And that's going to be insane.
The tour actually wraps up earlier than that, and then we're just kind of spotting some stuff later on. So Capitol Hill Block Party just got announced, and it's like,
that's going
to be insane. Yeah. So if you're in the Seattle area, make sure you check it out. So, and with that, any parting shots, Vega? Anything else to say? Anyone you want to shout out?
Of course, shout out Fantasy League DJs. That's Rock Right, Lou Rock, Raph, Just Jordan, Famous, Noise. Shout out to any competition because I like the battles.
I love that.
Yeah.
I need to practice.
Shout out to the squad, Ryan, Low, DJ Inf, who else? Jake, Christian. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, yeah, and I guess we'll let you out of here. We got to let this man perform here in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So we'll give him a couple minutes to chill out before the show starts. So with that, everybody have an awesome week, and we'll catch you next time.